Welcome to the Kortex Media Podcast, Marketing Accelerator, your compass for navigating the dynamic world of marketing and business growth. I'm Corson Schmidt, founder of Kortex Media. Our mission is to equip marketing agencies with the custom growth solutions they need to unlock massive revenue increases and scale their business. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today, we're diving into the deep world of influencer marketing with a true innovator. Joining me is Christian Brown, co-founder and CMO of Glewee. Christian's journey in e-commerce and influencer marketing began a decade ago, running his own online brand, OK Worldwide, from the age of 17. He's a DePaul University alum with a degree in advertising and marketing, and a testament to his impact, he and his co-founder were recognized on the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list for marketing and advertising. Glewee is an end-to-end influencer marketing platform connecting brands and creators through a unique app and web interface. Christian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. That was great.
Great. Thank you. So thanks for joining me today and taking the time. We're going to kind of dive through a little bit of everything on this show, but to start things off, what first inspired you to co-found Glewee, and how did your team identify the pain points that needed to be solved in this influencer marketing world?
Yeah. So I think when you think about kind of where we're at now, where we came from, we kind of take it, I think you said, a decade old in the intro there. I think it goes back all the way to those younger days on social media when we were in high school and, just building these worlds online. It is how I've found and met the majority of people that I'm best friends with to this day, outside of my core group of best friends I grew up with in my small little hometown in Massachusetts. But using the internet to really be that source of not only inspiration, but I guess network to the outside world beyond, the small town that I grew up in and many other people grew up in, right? All over the world, really. So using the internet to grow and to communicate and to experience stuff beyond who we were as teenagers was such a important part of this whole story, because that allowed me to really understand I wanted to go down an entrepreneurial journey. That was something that I've always wanted to do from the jump. And so in high school, I started my first brand, like you mentioned, OK, and then started a couple E-Comm companies through that. And then was really learning that e-commerce was all just driven through online. And it was all driven through, in my eyes, social media marketing. That was such an organic and authentic way to grow an E-Comm company. And so did that a lot. And even throughout my college times was working with tons and tons of different both brands and influencers, because we were building brands on the brand development side, all E-Comm oriented, working with influencers that I had met through building my brand, my original personal brand, and OK. And then from that, all the spin-off other brands that we had built, we were OK, well, let's just keep marketing them with influencers and friends of ours, right? And build these worlds out of what was happening on social. And this was in the early days of Instagram really picking up. This is pre-TikTok, post the YouTube era, and amidst Vine dying, to put a little timeline on the table. And so with that, I spent a lot of time in New York, in Miami, in Los Angeles. This is when I was finishing high school, in college, in Chicago, traveling all over the place, just working with a bunch of my friends, basically anyone that we met online, whether they were coming to Chicago and sleeping on our couch or we were going elsewhere to sleep on their couches. And in LA, some of my best friends either were massive influencers or working with massive influencers of our friends. So building amongst the friend group, just kind of this influencer marketing manager model of what was happening, and understanding okay, how do the agents do it? How do the big time real life managers do it? But then also understanding okay, there's the brand side to this equation. And that's where I met my other founding partner, Dylan Duke. And when COVID had began, it was we've been basically doing this manually, whether we're building brands, marketing them through influencer, or on the influencer side, helping people market and manage the relationship with brands. Why not build something all together, right? That pairs up the brands, the influencers together to really do all of this in a scalable solution. And so that was kind of the antithesis of it all, was identifying the problem set across the markets, and then being well, we have a little bit of time on our hands, because COVID had began 24 hours before that. And B, we didn't think we were going to be able to go anywhere anytime soon. So why not invest our time into something scalable and something fun and unique? And so that really led us to building what we have right now, which has solved for the pain points that we, 4 or 5 years ago were in real time experiencing as we were like just exploring this space and growing up and getting a feel for what was out there.
No, that's amazing. That's what entrepreneurship's all about, is kind of making that shift, is what you guys did. You made the shift into from being the manager yourselves to making the shift into a more scalable, more efficient way of being the manager. Now, before we get in the depth of Glewee, do you mind giving us just a quick overview of how it works, your services,
Yes.
if you don't mind?
Absolutely. So Glewee is an end-to-end influencer marketing platform. With that, we operate really as a marketplace. So we have an iOS app for our influencers. We have a web platform for our brands. So influencers, creators, affiliates download and apply. We pre-vet each of them. We admit them in. They create their accounts, authenticate their socials, set up their portfolio, their rate cards, etc. From there, the iOS app works as a deal flow and a deal board for them to find new brands and new partnerships to work on, new collaborations to be a part of, everything from the chat, the chat and communication, the content approval, the contracts, the flow of money and data. It all happens on the iOS app. And then in order to fuel that and to fuel the market that is on that app is the web platform. So we service e-commerce brands, consumer apps, a plethora and a breadth of different clients amongst the web platform of all sizes, shapes, builds, and backgrounds. And on there, they can create campaigns within minutes, find influencers quite literally seconds later that are applying to work with their brand. And then same thing, everything from the chats, the communications, the data, the contracting, the content library, all those flows and processes all happen in one place. And our platform is really the house and the technology is the ecosystem to power the influencer marketing campaigns there.
That's amazing, because that is such a huge... Influencer marketing is such a huge impact, has a huge impact on the marketing industry in general right now, because influencers were a huge thing once TikTok started, right? That's kind of the start of everything with all influencers. Not the start. Instagram started, but once TikTok kind of picked it up, they scooped up influencers pretty quick and then started making a brand for themselves. Now, do you mind giving us just one quick example of how Glewee has helped benefit an influencer and a company, and how they can both see ROI on this style of marketing and using Glewee?
Yeah. So thinking about it in like a true marketplace model, let's think about my good friends over at StudyPal, which is now branding into StudyPath. So they're an AI app for students. Okay. So Gen Z focused for students, high school, university, college, etc. And what they did is when they launched, we all worked very closely together, and they said, well, we want to launch with an array of influencers. And so what we did is their initial launch, it wasn't to go to every campus and spend multiple $1 million doing this boots on the ground marketing strategy. Instead, what we did is we worked with 50 to 100 influencers in their first month, and everyone created multiple pieces of content of the influencers at their own college in their respective niche, creating and deploying content of how they're using this product. Mm-hmm. And we did a range of nano, micro, mid-size, macro, mega influencers, right? So a very healthy mix throughout the budget and throughout the scope. And with that, we created amazing content that looks and feels like commercials. And we're able to take 50, 75 students that are true influencers and content creators and get them paid for their work. And whether we're giving them $500 or $5,000, some even $15,000 depending on their size, right? But being able to really allow them to create content based on the brief and based on the script, but really allow it to be them, right? And let the users talk about the product and create those true testimonials and let us have that content, let it go live to social, let us run it in ads. And we were able to take that company out of the gates and bring them their first 5,000 to 10,000 users, and they're able in a few months to use that and raise capital off that because they were able to enter the market, show proof of concept within 30 days, and be like, hey, here's how we stack and compete up against the competition. And so influencer marketing, right, whether you're launching or scaling a brand, the way in which you do it, there's so many key elements and parts to it that not only are a quintessential part of your marketing mix, but also your brand story, right? Who is telling your brand story? How is it being told? Where is it being told? How important is social media in the storytelling? Is it the founder team and founding team telling that story, or the users? And based on a lot of the answers to those questions, you can really identify where the right fit influencer marketing strategy falls for especially new companies, because companies that are like StudyPaths, for example, social first, right? We look at that in a whole new light compared to, I have a Yeti water bottle next to me. Yeti has a whole different strategy, right? And their strategy is to be a little bit more in person and direct to consumer on the shelves rather than influencer first. So like it really all varies based on the brand and what they're looking for. But I think, that's a great example of how we took a brand that did not exist and a company that had not existed, and we brought them into a market to a point where now they're getting oodles of downloads and new users. And we have an amazing strategy built around them that we're scaling up with them.
No, that's amazing. And just to add on that, in our past conversation, you really highlighted the importance of having multiple channels as well, having paid ads, social media marketing, and your influencer marketing all playing together to really make something that truly works within a marketplace and within a company. What is one of the biggest misconceptions or challenges that brands face in integrating these three elements to make sure that they're truly optimizing on these three and getting the results they need using these three? Like, I know some silo into maybe only doing paid ads, but what's the true benefit or misconception of adding those other two to it that can really help scale their business?
All right, let's break it all the way down, right? Let's break down like a true, right now, if someone is in the, D2C space, or they want to go for Gen Z, or they're a new consumer app, right? Maybe they're just coming out, or they already exist, or they're scaling, right? We're not going to take Coca-Cola, for example, because there's a lot more to that conversation. There's legal involved. There's this, there's that, there's content licensing. Let's take like a true, like an SMB company, one that we'd be very familiar with, one that probably an audience member even is trying to build, and let's kind of talk through that example. So the marketing mix itself breaks down to like, what are you selling? Is it a product or a service, right? Is it consumer focused or is it B2B? Let's kind of do a physical product, consumer focused, lifestyle, and maybe it's like a supplement or something.
Sure.
So what you want to do is, your first thought is probably like, all right, I'm going to go out and like get some influencers. So we're going to talk about the medium misconceptions there. Initially, you're going to think to yourself, some people do, and I have conversations all the time where they're like, all right, I want 5 big time influencers, and I only want to pay them commission. And they're like, they will sell 1 million units for me, and I will pay them $10 each. And it's like, okay, well, if 5 people had the ability to sell 1 million units, 200,000 units each, they want probably much more than $10 per unit, right? They probably want a massive equity stake in this company, because they would be the greatest unicorns of all time, right? And so when you start breaking down the layers of that, the misconceptions turn into, well, I just want affiliates, I don't want to pay people. Or it's, no, I only want to pay influencers a little bit and then performance-based after that. Or I think that, these influencers will just want to work for free for me because I have an amazing brand. It's like, no, that's wrong, right? You need to pay the influencers, the creators, the affiliates a fair rate. You have to pay them for their time. They're creating content. They're giving it to you. You can own it. You can repurpose it however you want. So that's misconception one, is like the pricing model here. I think a good thought process is like, what is a true micro influencer charging? $250 to $500 per good collab post, where they're giving you the content to use across your marketing mix. So let's say you have $5,000, maybe it's monthly for influencer, and maybe you're spending it across 10 influencers at $500 each. 10 really good micro influencers. Maybe they're making 1 to 2 pieces of content a month. Let's say 2. You're getting 20 pieces of content a month. Maybe it's all collab posts on Instagram, and you own the rights to that. So you're now getting a constant flow of content on your Instagram with right fit influencers that look, walk, and talk like your ideal customer profile. 20 pieces of like really good content made by people whose job it is to make really good content, who have quite literally built an audience and a world for themselves around how good of making content they are, right? That's like why they're content creators and influencers. So you pay them $500 each, and they're making 1 to 2 like literal commercials for you, and they're telling your brand story, right? So now we have that content. Now let's bring in paid ads into this mix. So maybe, just maybe, you have a paid ads agency and they told you that Instagram story static images were going to be amazing, and they might be really good, they might be really lazy, but it's just static images. Maybe it's 1080 by 1080 squares on Instagram, or story size, your 1920 by 1080s, and maybe they're statics, just flat images. Maybe there's some GIFs, maybe there's some cool videos in there, and that's the ad library. Now, every month, we now, through influencer, created 10 to 20 pieces of short form content, right? 15 to 45-second commercials, as I call them. Now we take those that are meant to tell the story of the brand and meant to show how amazing the product is, and we add those into the ads library. Now we just quadrupled the size of the ad library. So now we have more content to test, more ads to work with, more audiences to go up against, and more pieces of content to show to the ideal audience. So now you're using your ad dollars to fuel the influencer marketing content. So now the influencer marketing content now lives on your socials. Now it lives in your ad library. And I'm willing to bet, there's a lot of data that will show, influencer content performs anywhere from 2.5 to 4 times better than a generic static ad, depending on the niche or industry, right? Because it's a real person telling a real story. When you pay to boost it and you pay to run it as an ad, now you get a CTA on it, drive it to the website, etc. Yeah. So now our paid ad side of things has just amplified through the influencer content. Now, the influencers are driving the awareness. The ads are driving the middle and bottom of funnel, the conversion. But what happens when we get someone off of social media, right? When we get them off of Google or Instagram or TikTok, wherever the ads are placed. Now they go to the website. Now let's say they're on their phone or their computer. Now when they get to the website, their thought process is like, wow, I saw a really cool person using this product. It looked great. I want to go buy it. So you have to meet them there, right? Meet the consumer where their expectation is. Meet them at the .com level. Now this is a really important part. Have that influencer content on the website, right? Add it in the product showcase, right? When you're looking at images or videos of the product, add the influencer using the product. Add a as seen on or used by the greatest people, right? A wheel on your website where the consumers can watch this influencer content. Because at the end of the day, what do the consumers want to do? They want to watch videos, right? It's what we've trained them to do for the past 15 years. And over the past 5 years, we're spoon feeding 1,000,000,001 pieces of short form content to human beings because that's just the nature of where social media is. Yeah. So we need to continue doing that at the .com level because it's what they're native and like it's what they know. And consumers love content, right? It's all we do all day long is consume content. You and I are making content to be consumed. Yeah. Like that's what this is, right? And so meet them as the consumer, meet them where they are with amazing, cool content. It's what's going to make you and your brand stand out amongst the 15,000 competitors that already exist in these niches or industries. And so now the influencer content turned paid ads content, now turned testimonial video on website. Like it's kind of building a triangle, if you can think about it that way. And that piece of content costs $250 to $500 to produce. And so when you think about 10 years ago, to make an array of content about a new brand, right? A supplement brand is the example we're using. Mm-hmm. It would have cost $25,000 and a professional studio, models, a videographer, a post-production editor, a sound guy, and a boom mic guy, and the whole nine. You might need Quentin Tarantino for all we know, right? And now we can pay, and it's for a supplement brand, a really amazing guy, girl, individual, creator, $250 to go to the gym, film them using the supplement, talk about the product and benefits, use it for a week, and then share a really good video about it. And these videos are, sometimes they blow my mind. Like they're so amazing. And so like that piece of content through our systems is owned by the brand forever in perpetuity. Yeah. You buy that and now each month you just have this engine creating content for you, right? And the creators are the ones driving that brand story and narrative.
Saving the company time. So that's kind of how it plays
into the whole mix.
Saving the company time. Basically saving the company money in the long run. Controlling all of their social media marketing, and then do you guys at Glewee offer to do the paid ads so to finish this triangle for companies as well, or do you guys you guys do that as well?
So. Yeah, so at our core, kind of going back to like who we are, what we do, right? At our core, we are the end-to-end influencer marketing platform. That's what we've built. On top of that, over the years, we've had a great demand for more strategy involvement. So like brands will come to us and say, we want you to run our entire campaigns. You know, that's what you guys do best. And so we actually strategize, run the creative, run the full management of the influencer marketing campaigns for many of our larger clients. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we can bring in our paid ads team, our website redesign team, our SEO team, our CROs, like full marketing stack so that we can take a brand from really like wanting to exist in a big market and then driving them all the way there.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's one of the biggest breakdowns that I've had. I mean, I've only had a couple episodes on the show, but that's what I'm looking for from anyone who else who wants to be a part of this show. That's what I'm looking for. Let's break down. Let's get in the knee-deep water of what's working, what's not, and different ways to do it. Because what you explained there, instead of just running one funnel or one silo, you're bringing in a few. You're saving money. You're driving one to fund the other. Like, it's a great idea. I love what you guys are doing there. Now, when there's marketing agencies or people within marketing who are looking for new ways to scale their customer acquisition, was this the way that you recommend, or what seems to be right now the best way for marketing teams to get the best results for themselves? Yes, it's going to depend on who you are and what industry you're in. But let's say for Glewee, what seems to be, or even some of your clients, what seems to be that go-to at the moment to scale?
It's super social. And I think like I'm a little biased when I answer that, because you got to realize like where we sit, the companies that want to be super social, they come to us, right? And that's so like they're coming to us with, we know we need to do influencer marketing. We know we need to amplify our social experience and who we are in digital, but we don't really know how to do that, or we want your input on that. But I think right now, especially, the time to be on social and the time to tell your story is right this exact minute. Because I think when brands aren't doing that, A, I'm amazed, and B, I'm a little curious. And, we have a partner that is pretty much a consumer app. It's a rideshare aggregator, and they have well over 1 million downloads / users. They have like 5 posts on Instagram when they came to us. And they're like, we're in the process of changing that right now. But, I was just so baffled. I was like, that's incredible. I'm amazed, because you and I are both young, right? Yeah. Like from the Gen Z mindset, when someone's like, how are we going to build this company, the first 1 million users or 1 million customers? I'm like, of course we're going to use social, right? We're going to build on Instagram, build on TikTok, build short form content, make some long form on YouTube, right? Have your own channel for the brand itself, leverage influencers to jump on top of that, have external influencers amplifying the story, use paid ads to make that voice even bigger. And then obviously everything is just going to run through digital marketing, and influencer marketing being like a pivotal part of that. But there's also some growth marketing. I know some crazy growth hack teams out there that are getting 50 million views a month across 10,000 videos that they're slicing, dicing, and chopping up. And, as social continues to evolve, there's all these new like mini hacks that everyone's trying to like nail down. Yep. Granted, no one can really figure them all out and then like scale them up, because like by the time they scale them up, it's patched, or the company's like, we shouldn't let you post that video 4,000 times, because like that's not cool. Yeah. But there's some really good growth hack kids out there that are crushing right now. But like all of it boils back down to like existing on social media. For sure. Finding the right team. Like look at what Duolingo did a couple of years ago. With the Owl and Zaria, who's one of the smartest social media marketers to come out of our generation. But Duolingo increased billions of dollars in publicly traded worth because of their social media strategy. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that at the big corporate level. And I think it's going to trickle down all the way to every new brand that's starting. They're always thinking like, how do I go social first, right? Is my Instagram page a mood board? Is it a bunch of influencers? Is it a bunch of people at an event, right? Like, how is it looking? How is it feeling? What's it going to be like? How are we going to make more content like this? So I think always think about it in that way. Like, people don't really go to websites until they're ready to buy. People just go to social media pages. And like that's everything they need to know. And
all people do is scroll all day now. So like you said, it's a great way to do it. Now, there's one industry trend that's kind of disturbing influencer marketing and influencers in general, and that's AI influencers. How do you think that's going to affect the landscape of working with actual influencers or working with these AI influencers? And how is that landscape going to look for Glewee, in your opinion?
Okay, so first and foremost, AI rocks. AI is one of the fastest growing world-changing advancements in technology that you and I have definitely seen in our lifetime, but even of our parents' generation, the way in which it's taken the world by storm, grown and been adopted so vastly and so quickly, and is going to continue to scale exponentially, is a breakthrough in technology worth recording in history books. And I think the trickle-down effect, on social we see it a lot. I think like Sora 2 came out the other day by GPT and the OpenAI crew. Yeah. And within the first few days, it crashed and burned because people immediately, when they're like, I can type in a prompt on AI and it'll make me a video, what are they going to do? They're going to make a South Park video, right? They're going to make a full episode of Family Guy. They're going to make some like really wild stuff, right? And I'm just scratching the surface. I'm not even going to go deeper because the iceberg goes too deep of what came out in the first few days on that app. But like within 4 days, the entire copyright world was like, no, this kid cannot make a video of SpongeBob. Like, he can't do it. And so like that kind of put the guardrails on real quick where I was like, all right, people are going to try to recreate movies and put Leonardo DiCaprio like in the wildest settings. And there's someone out there that's going to just have to say no to that. So I think that AI content creation is going to have its guardrails, and I think the ludicrous and extremely crazy thoughts around it, they're going to have to like really reel those in just based on some copyright infringements, some IP licensing, NIL type stuff. So that goes for like that world. I think the AI content creators, we have to think about the platforms and the algorithms. So who owns the platforms? Like big tech. Meta owns Instagram and Facebook. TikTok, which will now have a US entity, owns TikTok. Google owns YouTube, right? How are they going to keep selling advertising dollars? They need to keep real people on the platform. But I think eventually what's going to happen is real people on social media don't want to see fake stuff, right? We already were conditioned for so many years to see like fake looking people with editing or like so many versions of what is fake. Now we're at the point where like the video itself is not a real human. And I think what happened over the past 12 months is like the platforms themselves looked at a lot of what was coming out and been like, that's really weird. Like we have to tag this as AI. Yeah. And so what's going to happen is the algorithms themselves and the socials and the tags will start to identify what is AI and what isn't. And you're going to see that organic and real human content is going to be favored tenfold over AI content. And so what's going to happen is in a world where there could be this over consumption of content, if there were to be too much fake content, people would just actually go outside. And like what's the worst thing that could happen to the social media platforms is like people go outside. Yeah. Right? Because like they can't sell ad space for an absorbent amount of money. So what's going to happen is they're going to have to tag pretty aggressively that the content is AI, and people are eventually going to say like, wow, I really miss seeing my favorite creator on my feed. I'm going to go check out what they're doing. And their content's going to be buried so far down in the feed underneath the AI slop mountain. And then people are going to realize that like Instagram and all of them really are just like out to make money. So I think overall, yes, AI content creation is cool, right? And you can do some great product shots, some still images, some amazing content ideation with it. But AI content creators and AI video, I don't think it'll be quite as popular as the human touch because real people want to see real things. And at the end of the day, I say this all the time. If a computer can make content, let it make content, but like the AI will never buy your product. Yeah. It won't do it. The AI will not put a credit card in to buy the product. Yeah. Right? The AI can make the content. The human has to feel it and feel connected to it. And it's like, and that really happens best in human to human connection, which is what social media is, right? Yeah. It's just content being shared peer to peer, person to person. For sure. So like we'll see an abundance of it, but I think that at the end of the day, people want real stuff from real people, and people are going to be able to put like filters on and be like, oh, that is AI, or like that's kind of whack. Like, why is that person floating?
Literally, and it's no different than sales, right? People buy from people and genuine people as well. So if you can see an actual person on social media, we know the difference. Everyone knows the difference now. Like we are programmed enough to know what's AI and what's not. But if you see someone, a real person, doing real things that really intrigues you and interests you, you're going to follow that person if you have the same beliefs as them. Or if you see an AI doing it, you're not going to follow them as closely as you would a real person. So just add that in there as people buy from people. Now, we did talk about the future on what we think, I don't know, what you think is going to happen with the future of influencer marketing in general. What does the future of Glewee look like? And what are some of those strategic primary goals that you guys are looking to complete at Glewee, and where are you looking to take it?
Yeah, so the future it's personal, it's real for sure. I think, everywhere we look, we're looking at some amazing partnerships and some key areas of growth, all in the very real space. So, what we have right now is one-to-one. So one creator, one brand, one account on our platform. There's the one-to-many approach as we start to introduce technology and solutions for agencies, managers, agents, right? On both the brands and the influencer side, there's a massive demand and a want for that. So we're exploring that space. We are exploring our AI ourselves for the ideation side of things, like, just to help some of your less experienced brands make a cool brief or identify what their goals and wants are, or write a cool script for influencers to follow, and really help just ideate rather than take over the process, right? I think everybody needs a well-trained assistant. And if we can offer a well-trained assistant that we are training and making agentic to each and every user on our platform, that's amazing because it's helping them be smarter and better at marketing. So that's a goal of ours, is to educate people better, smarter and faster, because the faster you can do that, the easier people can understand this new space. And then really identifying, key channels. Instagram came back very, very, very hard this past year and a half, has nearly taken out TikTok. But TikTok on the affiliate marketing side has come out of nowhere and generated billions of dollars in revenue with TikTok Shop. So on the E-Comm side, TikTok Shop is really hot right now. So we're looking into integrations there and exploring how we can expand there. On the Instagram side, we're looking at the awareness level, the collab post level, seeing what's continuing to trend. I think we're going to see a lot more content made, especially on Instagram, through Meta glasses. I think that's going to be that first person creative touch. That's going to be really big, especially in the streaming world. I see that coming pretty fast down the pipe. And yeah, AI will be here for the next ever. How it will evolve in how we use our phones and communicate with others. I always hope that it's just there to assist us, not replace us. And I want to make sure that I still use my brain all day, every day. Because I don't need my phone to be my brain for me, but I hope that we see some really fun, cool things come out of it, which I'm very confident we will, because there's trillions of dollars going into this, and I just hope that they're spending it very wisely for fun and for good.
For sure. And back to one point you made is that you want to use it to benefit the clients you guys are working with, or the influencers you guys are working with, to help them along their journey working with Glewee. And that's one of the biggest things that I like to point out with AI, is that you're using it as a leverage, as a tool. You're not getting AI to do everything for you. You're using it as a tool. You're leveraging it to make your work a little bit better, maybe help make a couple of decisions. But at the end of the day, it's your brain making the decision what you're actually doing. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions a lot of people see with AI. It's I'll just get AI to do it. But people can tell what AI does and what it doesn't. And you need to add that human touch to it, like we said earlier. Now, with Glewee, you guys wanting to scale, wanting to move forward, are there any new initiatives or service lines that you guys are looking to jump into? I know you guys said the AI there, but are there any other silos that you guys are looking to jump into and excited for the future with Glewee?
Yeah, I think, we're expanding out really what we do right now. And influencer marketing is such a core part of our business model. It is the business model. And so, more brands, more creators, more influencers, more affiliates, and more opportunities, making sure that we know where a lot of the money is coming from and going to across this space on social, and being able to build into that so that we can allow for our brands to place there and to make money there, right? Like TikTok Shop versus Instagram. Or is Instagram going to come out with their own version of this? Or is Amazon going to come out with their own version of Instagram being TikTok Shop, right? So it's really identifying all those and playing into them. So yeah, when we think about it, expanding our potential and expanding the ability we give to our brands and making influencer marketing fast, easy, and affordable for every single one of them, whether they're an SMB brand just starting out or whether they're a mid-size, mid-market, enterprise brand. We want to welcome them into our ecosystem and allow for them to do all of their influencer marketing needs on Glewee, and then eventually all of their digital marketing needs to and through our platform and ecosystem.
Amazing. I love it. I love the vision behind it. I love what you guys are doing at Glewee. Now, one final question for young marketers, entrepreneurs who are just starting out today, wanting to learn just a little bit more about marketing or start their own company. What advice do you have for someone getting into the industry or business in general?
Yeah, so understand the industry. Understand the playing field that you're in. If there are 1,000,001 competitors and they all make the exact same thing, do not make something like that, because there's going to be someone that is going to be faster, maybe smarter, and have a little more resources than you that is already invested in this, and they're one of 15,000 others, right? Carve out your own lane, identify a new area, whether it's a solution, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whatever it is you're offering, have a unique selling proposition and like be all in on it, right? Love it. Be able to talk about it, walk about it, look like it, and act like it all day long, right? In your sleep, you should be able to do your sales pitch. But as a great entrepreneur, right, you will wear every single hat, whether you're the marketer, the head of sales, the one running the company, the one doing the grunt work of the company, the one building spreadsheets. You're going to have to do it all, and be ready to do that, and don't complain, because that's what you're signing up for. But identify your unique selling proposition, identify where you want to be in the market, look at the competitive playing field, understand the space, for not only like economically, but also socially, politically, even if you need to. And then I'd say lastly, start asking around. Make sure that there's validation for your idea before you go all in on it. Maybe think about your ideal customer profile and offer a free session talking to 100 of them just to see if they would validate your idea and spend money on it. Because if there's a market opportunity and you can validate it through data, then it's worth investing your time into. And I don't just mean investing resources like money. I think like the investment of your time, because what's more important?
Time is money, right? If you're spending too much time, like even this podcast, I'm using your time, which is your money, losing your time. Same with mine. So, but we're getting something valuable out of it. We're getting content so we can push it. We can get more customers. We can get more people we're speaking with, right? All back to the triangle. So,
right. But I think like, all in all, if there's something that someone loves, I think you can love many, many things, but until you validate the business aspect of them, I sometimes see people go out and invest way too much time into a specific thing, and I kind of look at them like, did you even ask if someone would buy that? Like, is there a market for this existing? Or people will enter a market where there's too many entrants at the same time. And I say, like, did you not look around and know that there's way, like, hundreds of people trying to do what you're doing right now? And, like, that's a very competitive space to play in. So know your competition, know your market, know the value of the market, and validate your concept before investing into it, and then go all in, 100% all in. Don't have 7 jobs, don't have 7 projects. You don't need to be the wizard guy or gal that does a billion things. Do one thing, build one company, build it great, and be super proud of it.
Amazing. Thank you, Chris, for coming on. Do you have anything else to say to the audience before we get finished up? Maybe where they can find Glewee if they wanted to get in contact with you, whether a company or an influencer.
Yeah, if you ever have a question, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just type in Christian Brown. Hopefully I pop up. And yeah, it should be a message there. Open to answering any and all questions if anyone has any question about anything. As in terms of Glewee, if you are an influencer, you can download Glewee on the iOS App Store, spelled Glewee. You'll find it, I promise you. Or if you are an e-commerce brand or a consumer app looking or wanting to get into influencer marketing, you can get a free 30-day all-access trial of our platform. All you have to do is go to glewee.com, Glewee.com, and everywhere, and I mean everywhere, you will see a Start Your Trial button. And you can click it, and you can join one of our 2 amazing tiers. And if you want us to manage it for you, you'll also see a Want It Done For You ? Bubble on our website. click that, submit a form, and you and I will be stuck in a 30-minute conversation where we just kind of go over everything one-on-one.
Perfect. Amazing, Christian. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise in this space. It's been amazing. I really think people are going to take a lot away from this conversation, whether they're just starting out and need like a little vision on where they want to be and where they want to take it, or someone that's been in the industry for quite some time and just looks down a different tunnel. So appreciate it, Christian.
Amazing.
Thank you for joining me.
Cool.
And
Thank you so much for having me.